Hello everyone, welcome to another Fanzilla tutorial. Now this video will be covering the new Reactions Pro method that my team has made for you guys. So the purpose and benefits of this method is to monitor if your slaves get spam flagged, to ensure that your slaves will last 10 times longer, so your slaves should not get banned at all. So it should save you a lot on account costs, because we all know aged accounts are getting quite expensive these days, and it will also ensure that your slaves will be highly unlikely to get spam flagged, and so you could potentially get better results than before all this spam flag stuff when done at scale, because most people operate their automations with spam flag accounts. So with this new method, your slaves per mobile proxy is 80, so 80 slaves per $25 mobile proxy. And then if you are using accelerators, you should be using that on a different mobile proxy, and you could assign up to 160. So the first step in this method is to add your proxy to Proxy Manager Pro. So I'm just using this one. This isn't my proxy, so don't bother trying to steal it. It's just a static proxy. But I use mobile proxies for this strategy. You just pop it in here, okay? Limit usage 80. API link will obviously be different, but this is just a test. You want to enable IP tracking. Set it to however long the rotation is. So if you set your proxy to rotate every 30, auto rotate every 30 minutes, then I'll put it to 30. And tick this. And you also want to tick this, very important, you tick this if you want to use 80 per mobile proxy safely. So you press save. Okay, your proxy should be added successfully, and now you should also get this option here to change IP. Now this will be very important later on. Now if you do have an old proxy and you want to replace all the slaves that have been assigned, then you simply want to go to the new proxy and put it in here as replace proxy and press save. And then you want to double check by pressing assign proxy, and it will tell you which accounts have it assigned to which proxies. And if it didn't work somehow, then just assign it manually. It will take a minute, because this is very quick, this feature. So we'll go back to the accounts. We'll go to the next step. So you want to buy aged accounts for this method. I think in the group I was saying soft reg accounts. However, yeah, like I did find they were getting story-like throttled a bit faster than I had hoped for. So these are the two ones that I've been buying, but essentially any aged account that isn't Gmail, because Gmail requires a stupid SMS, and I don't know why these guys are making them Gmail. So just, yeah. Any of these, they are getting a bit expensive, but it's fine, because this method, your accounts should survive very long. So now, out of the batch of aged accounts, you only have to do this steps 3 to 4 one time, and that is, you want to choose an aged account and sign into it through your mobile phone and the software. So let's assume I chose this one. I've signed into it on the software, and I've also done it through the phone, and that's because when I want to check if my other slaves have been spam flagged, you could only check through the phone. So you want to collect the user ID, so you head on to this website. It's just a fast way to collect it. If I want to collect this user ID, because this one's the one that I'm going to be using, this is the account that I'm going to be using to check if my other slaves have been spam flagged. So I'll collect this user ID, and I could add it as a target later. Okay, so this is the account ID. Now I will need to record that somewhere. So you could go on the phone or your software, you just go add post, and you'd post a story with that account. Just wait for it to load. Here, add story, and then you can go ahead and add a story, and then after that you are basically set. So once you have added the story, you are basically done with these steps. You don't have to do, you don't have to go through this process again. You only needed one account that can be used to check all your other slaves. So now that you're going to add a new account and it's going to be your main slave, you want to go ahead, go on Proxy Manager Pro, and then go down to the bottom and press change IP. And then you'll go ahead and add a new account, put in the details, and once you have added it, you will have to navigate down to Reactions Pro. So let's assume this account is going to be my slave, which I'll customize it in a second, but first I want to check if it's been spam flagged or not. So I'll go ahead and grab the user ID that I collected, go user IDs, insert ID, done. Just do mass looking, story likes, these settings don't matter for now, you're just checking first. The very important setting that matters is custom delays. Ensure that batch size for story detector is at 1, and then active and save. So it will take about 5 minutes, and then you want to go on your phone and log into this account on your phone, swipe up on your story and check if it's all good to go. So since I was planning on using this account as well as a slave, since I have another account, I have a different account that checks stories, I just showed you this screenshot just to show that this account hasn't been spam flagged, and therefore I'm going to continue using it. If it does, then you're better off just removing it and adding another account that is fine. So now that you've done that, you want to configure your Reactions Pro settings. Ideally, you want to target accounts that have around 100,000 followers, and then you want to go ahead, specifically this algorithm type, like last story of user, once per 3 days for 100,000. If you're doing 50,000, once per day, and then so you just adjust it accordingly. You want to keep everything else off, just keep only these on. You could have these on if you want, doesn't really matter. And then very important, you go back to your custom delays and you take that off and untick it, and then press active. You don't have to touch activity time settings again, as long as you've ticked the option on Proxy Manager Pro, it will auto adjust some settings and delays here. So then you just press save, and also make sure you keep the user ID of the account where you are checking stories. So every day you could just go on your phone and swipe up and see that all accounts are still doing fine and have not been spam flagged. So after you've considered your Reactions Pro settings, you want to head down to this option here. Where is it? Edit. You want to go ahead and press change privacy and put it to private. Then obviously enter in the account and press save. You want to do this one account at a time. So make sure that every time you add an account, you then configure the Reactions Pro settings and you change it to private, and then you go back into accounts, edit the bio, username, whatever, and then once you've done that, you can add another account. And with your posts, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It could just be like a photo of nothing, because your account is private, so the user won't be able to see it anyway unless you are going to be using the follow requests. And also, to ensure that your account doesn't get flagged as anything, I would avoid buying followers for now, and then maybe over the course of a couple of days you buy 20-30 followers per day until you get to about 100 followers, and then I just leave it as that, because Instagram can detect if you're buying followers and whatever, and it could lead to an account suspension. So yeah, be careful with that. You'd also want to frame the account as it's like a private spam account for your model's main account. So after you've done that, you can now add another aged account and mark it as an accelerator. Now, of course, you got to change IP. So every time you add another account, just change IP. And when you add the new account as an accelerator, ensure that this is ticked. And then press add account. Now, if you add account and somehow you go on Reactions Pro and it's not labeled as accelerator, you could go back, press edit, and tick it again. So by default, any accelerator in our system will auto assign to your slave running on Reactions Pro, and this will be 1 per slave. Now, if you are adding soft reg accounts, they are the cheaper option. However, they do die fast. So you want to message me on Telegram at Chenzo1, and I can set the default assign settings to 3 per slave. And just a reminder, you do not need to customize the accelerator. The whole purpose of the accelerator is just to filter and pass data. That's it. It won't perform any actions. It will keep your main slave account from getting banned, which is a very big bonus. So if you are running aged slave accounts with an aged accelerator on top of our advanced strategy, I should not see a single main slave account get banned if you're just doing story actions. And that is kind of the goal with this strategy. We're just doing story actions with these accounts. So the cost to run 160 accounts will equal 3 mobile proxies at $75 per month. So it'll include 160 slaves with 160 accelerators. So one assigned to each slave, and that you only need 3 mobile proxies for that. Accounts with aged accelerators will be invincible and last almost forever when paired with the advanced targeting. Since accounts, we have limited them to 200 story likes and views per day, and very high delays when you're between each story action. And since you do not need to buy likes and follows, it should heavily reduce the risk of account being marked as spam, which will allow you to get great results at scale. With this method, you should be able to separate yourselves from the other people running Instagram automations, as your story likes will actually go to the notifications of the target and will be visible. So yeah, when you got targets that many other people are using, it's a very good way to ensure that they see your account first before any other models. Thank you for watching this video. Now, I am planning on making a YouTube video. I'll continue to use this account and build out about 160 accounts. I'll put a special tracking link, and I'll show you maybe next 2 weeks of what sort of results you can expect when you're spending $75 per month on proxies and the $99 a month on the software.